Thanks for joining us on Sayfie TV. Today we're pleased to be joined by the President of the Florida Senate, Mike Haridopolos. President Haridopolos, thanks for joining us on Sayfie TV.
Thank you, Justin. Great to be here.
We're now in the second week of session. The Florida Senate has got off to a very, very strong start. What are some of the things that the Florida Senate has done that you're most proud of in the first 2 weeks of session?
Well, we've tackled the big issues first. The first, of course, healthcare freedom, making sure that you are not required to buy, in essence, government-mandated insurance. It was the first bill we passed, bipartisan support. It'll be on the ballot in 2012. Second, of course, the merit pay bill, the old Senate Bill 6. There was so much controversy last year. This year, we methodically went through the bill. It had 3 committee stops. Again, bipartisan support. We end tenure as we know it and reward the best teachers with higher pay for their strong performance. Third, this week, Smart Cap. It's one of my dreams, is to put government on a diet, so to speak. This is a plan, what I call the Old Testament option. When times are good, don't overspend. Put money in a rainy day fund, so when the economy goes bad, you can prop up the basics in the times are bad. And finally, of course, just today we passed tort reform. It's a common sense agenda. The new Florida Senate, much more fiscally conservative. It's an agenda that we're proud of, but there's still a lot more work to do.
Why do you think that there wasn't as much controversy this year? It doesn't seem like there was about the teacher tenure bill or the student achievement bill.
I think because all the facts got out. Last year there was that rushed feeling to it. This year we took last summer, fall, winter, and now spring to really get the facts out. When people learn the whole story about making sure the best teachers get paid more, that we end tenure as we know it, and that we're really grading performance. I mean, every other job in America is based on performance, especially since our kids are our most precious commodity. And so we took our time, went through 3 committees plus a 5-hour workshop. Anyone who had rhetoric that ended this year. Only facts stood, and we again, overwhelming support. And I believe today the House will pass it, we'll sign into law immediately, and we're going to move our state forward.
Great. There's been some news articles, and I even got a call last week from a reporter from Washington, D.C. that was asking about the relationship between the legislature and Governor Rick Scott. Can you describe how that relationship's going?
I think it's gone incredibly well, and here's why. Balanced budget, no new taxes. Medicaid reform, pension reform, merit pay, smart cap, tort reform. We share a common agenda. There's been some nitpick issues that we don't agree with, sure, but we're all different folks. It's a bottom line in the big picture items, especially balanced budget, no new taxes. We are on the same page. We talk once or twice a day. He has been very, very engaged. But the smart thing is we're running government a lot more like a business, and we're off to a good start, a solid start, but there's still a lot more work to do.
What influence, in the last 2 years we've seen the Tea Party movement has grown organically in the last 2 years since February of 2009. What influence does the Tea Party have, if any, on the legislative deliberations and legislative agenda this year?
Well, I like the fact that we're focused on business issues, on financial security, on financial smarts. We're really moving in the right direction as far as making sure that we keep our fiscal house in order. If we do that, we will attract businesses to the state of Florida. We'll keep businesses in Florida. And at the end of the day, we're competing with other states. If we offer stability, predictability, certainty, jobs will flock to Florida. I think the best analogy was offered by Eric Cantor, of course, now the majority leader in the United States House. We're pruning the tree. It's not going to look too pretty at the beginning, but in time our economy should blossom.
Great. And the last question is, there's been some talk about Florida moving its presidential primary date to try to be one of the very first presidential primaries. What's your position on this issue, and where do you think it's likely to end up by the end of session?
Well, Marco Rubio, our new U.S. Senator, Dean Cannon, our Speaker of the House, and myself are all in the position saying we don't want to be number 1. Iowa and, of course, New Hampshire, for that matter, Nevada and South Carolina, they're going to be the top 4. We want to be number 5. I know we want to be number 1. This year we'll take number 5, and here's why. We want to give the lesser-known candidates the ability to compete in Iowa and New Hampshire, where it's not so expensive. But once we get through those, let's have Florida have a big say in the process. We're working hand in hand with the national party. We want to be number 5. Use that to help have a really big say on who our nominee is, because this is a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. We know who the Democratic nominee is, and we build on that. We show that this person's successful in Florida, because if you win Florida, you can win the presidency. We'll use that momentum to have a huge and successful convention in Tampa, and let's win as at least Republicans in 2012. I think we can upgrade as president, and I'm excited about the field that's forming right now.
Great. President Haridopolos, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Justin.